Literally, you put it on the teleprompter, and it's gonna be said. This says, "We often find myself deep in techniques."
I didn't even read that thing yet.
Who wrote this? Anyway, we're back. We're on episode 19.
Give me that.
What are we at here?
We're just I don't know. What episode is this?
We came back with episode 17. We shot episode 18, which we had walk-in guests, which was so sick.
Oh yeah, Eli and John Pizell came on.
I had to go because I had a massage appointment. We had 3 mics set up. Eli rolled in late. He jumped on. Such a fun guy to have on the podcast. And then we had seen Pizell earlier, and we told him he's going on a bike ride. Hey, if you come back in time, just come walk in. And I had gone already, and then I called Koa later, and he said Pizell just rolled in.
Yeah, that was like an hour and a half long podcast. And I forgot to turn Nate. So me being the sound guy and all for the podcast, I thought it was good. It was super cool to use this thing. I was like, the first part of the podcast, I turned one of the mics off because we connected 3. It was just me and Nate. And I ended up turning Nate's mic off the whole first 7 minutes. So we had to reshoot the intro.
You silenced me.
I did.
What is this?
It was gonna get us canceled.
What is this, CNN?
Yeah, so you're gonna cancel us. We're gonna be on Tucker Carlson next.
Let's get Tucker on the pod.
On Twitter or X. But so episode 19. What have we not talked about yet?
I think so. We went into a couple of our trips, but not all of them.
I wrote down a bunch of notes. I mean, we don't have to stick to anything, obviously.
No, I wanted to ask about, because I didn't go this year. You went to Fiji. You went to Fiji. Oh, my God. And you ended up staying for, a month?
We were there for, I think it was 2.5 weeks.
Rich people go for a week. Koa goes for a month. Business is booming.
Obviously, we get a pretty good deal there. And, we drive a lot of traffic there as well.
He's talking about, so when we go to Fiji.
To Fiji?
When we go to Fiji, we often or try to stay on Tavarua because it's just... it's the place you want to be. It's the closest place to the waves. The food is insane. The island is insane. The staff are insane. And Cloudbreak is right there. So when he's talking about where he was, it's talking about Tavarua.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was the longest trip I've ever done to Fiji. And we scored. The reason we stayed so long was because we had planned for 6 days.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, there's more swell coming. We're not going to leave. And they're like, yeah, we have availability still because it was a slow part of their season. We're like, all right, we're just going to stay. So we ended up staying for around 3 weeks, just barreled beyond belief. And then it got to a point where you're staying on an island that you can literally walk around in 15 minutes.
It's a small island.
It's really nice for just a short while.
Island fever.
Oh, yeah. In. No, it's like a full thing. It's a whole thing. You slowly started to, because there was a big group of us. You slowly started to feel a little strange yourself, and you don't really want to talk about anything. You're like, why am I feeling like I'm going nowhere, or I'm surfing, but I'm in this weird little routine. But because most of the people that are there for that long are working, or they're the staff and the management, so they're always constantly busy, and we're just there kind of touristing and surfing for 3 weeks. You slowly started to see everyone's demeanor kind of change, and everyone was starting to go a little crazier. And then by the end of it, I was like, I have to leave. And there was no flights home, so I was like, I'm going straight to Australia.
And Australia what is that flight?
It was 3 hours.
It's so sick.
It's so easy. And then that was my plan: hop over to Australia, score some waves there, wait for a swell in Indo, and then go to Indo when Eli was gonna go, and I got hurt 2 days into my Oz trip, so it was just blown. But yeah, the Fiji trip was super sick. I think for
how many swells did you have when you were there?
We got 3 solid swells back to back. The one super good day was, when it's those wash dews?
Yeah.
So Fiji Cloudbreak, when it's big, it's kind of like how we surf pipe, on those second reefers. We always sit on the inside reef, but when the second reefers are breaking, you get caught inside all day. But there, you cannot make it back out. You have to like
do the whole roundabout.
Yeah, so pretty much.
I've had days it was doing that, but it must have not been that bad because I didn't like. People were like, "Oh, the cleanups are so bad." I got cleaned up. You were on the trip. We like when we were filming for Shadow Company.
Oh yeah.
There was a few of them, but like not bad.
Yeah. So this was like a million times worse. You just get without Abe there, my session would have been 2 hours maybe, just because it was so exhausting.
2 hours. What was the session?
It ended up being like 6 hours.
That's crazy.
Just no t-shirt, no rash guard.
You're a
sunscreen.
Psychopath for doing those sessions without a shirt.
I was a couple shades darker after that, for sure.
I can imagine.
I was like a different race.
I go in the sun for 15 minutes. It's game over.
Dude, you were looking tan today. From like right here up. I was like, because I've only seen you burn, and I was like, what? Nate's looking tan in the gym right now. I fully asked you, did you spray tan?
I've been spray tanning. If I'm not going to be able to tan by the sun, I'm taking preemptive measures and just spray tanning.
Just a permanent layer.
Yeah. I went on a bike ride and somehow I thought I was going to get super sunburn. I used sunscreen, but I was just in the sun all day. And this one time, maybe, I don't know. I need to maybe look into it because I finally must have tanned a little bit.
That's sick.
It's really sick because usually I just get fried and go back to being the same shade I was.
Yeah, usually you're like a tomato and like peeling.
And then it just goes
awful.
back to the same paleness and I get burned again. It's we've talked about it on here before. I don't have the genetics for sunlight.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. The cleanup sets, because usually like I was thinking about it and I was like, that's the swell I want to go on because it's going to eliminate the crowd. Like any wave I think about, like where that has a natural crowd on it already, or there's going to be people there and people know about it and want to be there, I always think of like the swell that just might be borderline too big, because in the midst of those are going to be ones we want, but 95% of people don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. I feel like that's how we have pretty much based all our trips in the past. Like, we're going to crowded places like Tahiti and like Fiji, or some places in Mexico, but there's certain ones that we know we want that most of the people don't want. Do you feel like that has kind of started to change? That more people and like the younger generation that's coming up now wants those waves that we used to think no one wanted, and we were like, oh, we could get them, you know?
Yep, definitely. And it's just the way I think it is now. It's published and put out, and we talk about it or show it, and then those swells get chased more because a successful blueprint gets put out on what might work. Yeah. And so people will naturally be like, hey, that's working for that guy, or they went on that swell that I thought wouldn't be good, but it was good, and so now I'm going to try and go do it. But
I've noticed that
frustrating at times.
Frustrating, yeah.
Because you just start seeing people show up where once they didn't, but it's also kind of like our doing in a way. Like,
yeah, it's not like we kept it secret or anything.
Like just waves like that where you're like, anyone else would write it off because it's too big. It's going to be washers all day, but you can go and sneak a few. I still think 90% of people aren't, but there'll be a few guys that are be like, oh, I'll chase a swell like that next time, like just to not deal with the crowd. Yeah. Because I did hear on when Cloudbreak is smaller, it's pretty packed.
Nightmare.
And it's kind of a rogue crowd.
It's not rogue. It's just like a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's not that bad because you can kind of just paddle way up the point and get some. It's weird because everyone follows each other right to the same peak. And Cloudbreak is a huge lineup. And my favorite waves are either way deep behind where everyone sits, and like a couple guys sit back there like Roseman and stuff. But I think honestly my favorite place to sit is inside of everyone on this like just before Shish Kebab's ledge. It's not like the longest part of the wave, but it's definitely the most like hollow and shallow and like widest barrel you can get. Is right there, and everyone's like always too far out.
I've experienced that. It's so many waves traveling around. That exact thing is going out and sitting under the main crowd and everyone's waiting for that one perfect one that's going to stand up on that outer reef. But the mutant double ups that go under everyone, you can oftentimes surf your entire session, catch twice as many waves as everyone, and the waves look as hollow or as big as some of those sets.
But yeah, they don't look like it coming in, but as soon as you stand up, you're like,
break.
Whoa, when it hits the reef and it starts throwing, a lot of breaks are like that. You know what I noticed? So back to what we were saying about how more people are starting to kind of like charge on waves that we'd say we wanted. I noticed it at Pipe. Because remember on the big cleanup days, it would be like me, you, and John that would just sit there and duck dive and like be like in the spot for when it did clean up, you know? Mm-hmm. We just took a beating for a little bit.
There'd be nobody out on those days.
That was just a couple years ago. And now I notice like there's a lot of younger guys just right there with us duck diving.
Totally.
Not hating on them at all. Like, no, they're right there. Like McConaughey, Barron, like
I think
those guys.
It's a whole generation merging too, but it's interesting too because I think there's like a thing that happens now. Like, not saying it's with McConaughey and their crew. Like, they want pipe at any. McConaughey will surf pipe at any fucking size or like condition, or it's a storm. If there's a double up, he's going out. You know, they put in the time and they put in the work and they surf pipe in every face it shows, and that's what makes a good pipe surfer. But there's this different crew that I swear they sit on the cams and they won't paddle out until they see heads in the water. Yeah. And they don't even really look at the conditions. They just look for heads in the water and they're like, hey, those guys paddled out. I'm going to paddle out. Yeah, and that happens so bad at Pipe, I feel like, nowadays.
Yeah, those dawn patrol sessions.
And they're just...
Oh, no, you're talking about when it's like it goes shitty and everyone goes in.
Yes.
And then someone finally gets back out there.
Yeah, they have a very fast window because guys are just camping on the cameras, the surfing cameras.
Yeah. And the cams are so good. You can see who it is. Like, if you know surfing, totally. Like the surfers that surf there, like I can be like, oh, that's Nate. Right there, and that's John, or Eli, or Kieran, or something. I'm like,
I will call you, and you won't answer, and I'll look on the cam and be like, "That's cool, right there,
dude." That is exactly what I do with all of you guys as well. I'm like, "Did you just get spit out of a wave?"
Yeah, it's just so fired up.
Surfline, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It's so accessible.
Yeah,
it's like it's a good and bad thing.
Yeah. Did you break a bunch of boards on that trip? You were there for a month. Did you start to run out of boards, or you were on a good roll?
I don't even remember. I think Jack, do you remember if I broke any boards?
Where?
Fiji? No, I didn't. I don't think I broke one surfboard the whole time.
I have a hilarious story. Years ago, we were all on this trip in Tabarua, and we used to do these trips with our friend of ours, Daniel Russo. This is like a long time. We were all groms. And the end of the trip, like we always, like we said before, we end it with like a big night usually. Yeah. We like partied super hard. Everyone was all hungover the next day, but Russo, like everyone's trying to pack up stuff, and like some guys were like on a different island. It was just like chaos.
Before everyone was awake.
Before everyone's awake.
Russo was at it.
Russo's up, and he dawn patrol surfs, trying to wash it off, or I don't even know.
I think it was still like
I think hammered. Actually, Willie Nelson was there, right? That trip?
No, it was Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, Jimmy Buffett, yeah.
He just passed away.
And so sad. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett.
He played all his songs for us that night, remember?
Such a legend.
We were surfing with him that night.
That night. And Russo surfed with him that morning. He said he was out on the Dawn Patrol session. Yeah. And so, such a legend, loved surfing. Just happened to spontaneously be there on a trip where he was just surfing restaurants and loving it. And Russo gets up, probably still feeling the drinks from the night before, and he decides he goes into the boardroom and he decides to he sells my boards, like a few of my boards, to the boatman. But like in what he does, like we're like supposed to pack our boards out, he like sells the board to the boatman, takes the money, and then gives the boatman the money back and says, "Here's the tip for the trip."
Dude,
it's so funny. To this day, we just like I wasn't even mad because I just had to laugh. We were all so scrambled. And I asked Russo, why'd you do that? And he's like, I don't even know. I don't even know what I was doing.
Okay, so by that time, I was up and I was right next to Russo when he soldier board. He kind of looked at me and I was just like so deathly hungover. I was just like, I didn't really know what was going on. He's like, yeah, like $400. And Russo, he's like, really? The boat, because the boatmen go to Tavarua and a lot of them are from California or Hawaii and they stay there for like a month or 2 months, right, as their stint, and they bring a certain amount of boards, but they end up breaking them all. So when surfers like us come, we have good surfboards and they just can't wait to get their hands on them. But he's like, yeah, $400. And I think it was like the kind of mentality you have when you're like, you know, you're getting drunk and you're at the bar and you're just like, yeah, shots for everyone, drinks for everyone. He's like, yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, I'll sell this one too, and then this one. And I think he sold all of yours. You went home with an empty board bag. You had like 3 left or something.
Yeah.
And I think he was trying to sell one of Koa Smith's maybe, but the guy didn't want it, or maybe he did. I don't know. But then right after that, he just was like, the guy went through to go get the cash and give it to Russo, and Russo's just like, oh, here. That's it.
It's a tip.
I was like, I don't know what that transaction was.
I don't think Russo know what that transaction was.
It's hilarious.
Classic.
That was funny.
Those are just a lifetime of moments like that on the road with your friends where you just can't help but crack up.
So many funny moments.
The things we all do in all our weird little personality quirks.
Dude, you are the strangest. I think did we talk about your Tahiti and peanut butter one? I think we've talked about it.
No, we didn't.
Did we not?
I don't know.
Did we tell this story?
I don't know.
Did you hear this story, Jack? I'm going to tell it again.
Okay.
I think I've told it a lot to just friends. Remember when we're all staying in this, like, this is back, like, older Tahiti, kind of before there was like a bunch of nicer spots to stay. It was like a room like as big as this living room. There's like 6 beds. It's me, you, Ivan, Kieran, Eli. Was Russo there too?
Russo was probably there shooting water. Jack Robinson was like staying down the road, but he was always hanging out.
And there was this little bathroom just right in the corner. Like it just had a little sheet.
So like all the same room, right? So like we're all staying in this same room with 6 beds, and in that same room is a bathroom with like a little, it was like a plastic curtain.
Yeah, it was
thing.
Like, some weird, super strange like thing. And
so it's like 6 dudes having to take shits in one bathroom every single morning.
So bad. But that's the story. What happened was Nate had these brilliant pranks in his mind, and I walk up the stairs into the room. And I just hear Nate in the bathroom. I think I was looking at Ivan and Kieran or something. I'm like, Nate's like, someone grab me toilet paper. I'm like, oh, I don't have toilet paper in here. I'm like, why aren't you guys grabbing toilet paper? And they're like, oh, I don't know. So I pick up toilet paper and walk over to the bathroom and like try to hand it to him through the curtain. He goes, oh, thanks. And then he swipes my hand and it just looks like there's shit all over my hand. And I kind of just started like screaming. I'm like, ah. And then Nate like comes out of the bathroom just cracking up like, full Nate humor with just like a jar of Skippy in his hand, just like he was just waiting with peanut butter in his hand to wipe on someone's hand.
I could have been there for hours. It would have been worth the prank.
You probably were.
Just with the initial reaction, I like purposely set the toilet paper like outside the bathroom too, so that someone would have to like hand it in.
Yeah, it was
good times.
So many things like that. The one you guys got me with the tea in Tahiti, I think we told that story.
Yeah, we did tell that story.
That was bad. You and John. The Florence humor is so strange. It's like, it's always like it's like a prank.
It's just like prank.
It's just pranks.
John's pranks are malicious.
Yeah.
He wants to cause pain.
Yeah. Like his biking one.
Tricked me on the bike. Diuretics,
or he likes seeing people super uncomfortable. So
he loves it.
Like John during his wedding, when we're like, oh, he like picks people to do speeches beforehand. And we're like sick, because he like I'm super shy, public speaking.
Yeah.
And like whatever. So I'm like, it's not a worry in my mind to like have to think of something to say. And then the wedding comes around, and I'm like one of the most fucked up people there. And then all of a sudden he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, you want to do a speech?" I'm like, "No."
He knows that's why.
No. I don't want to do a speech.
Please don't choose
and
me.
I'm like, I couldn't say no. He's like, "No, you have to do a speech."
As soon as you said no, he was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like that was the greatest prank ever to him.
That
Like
was just the moments he enjoyed.
Loved it. I was just sweating with the microphone in front of like people. I was just like.
And our most awkward friend is Kieran Jabor. And
we got to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, we do. We know he's awkward. And John thinks it's hilarious. He super seriously asks Kieran to marry them.
Yeah.
To like literally do the whatever it's called where they stand up there and they're like, hey, do the ring, do the kiss, do the whole thing. And Kieran was losing sleep, bro.
Losing hair.
Over the
hair was falling
weeks
out.
leading up to this, because it's just like your best friend's wedding. You don't want to mess it up, and you're the shyest, most awkward guy.
Yeah, that was classic. But then he killed it.
Then he killed it.
So
Absolutely
well.
Killed it.
Like I was just waiting, watching, just like this is gonna be
it's gonna go south.
such a disaster. It's gonna be funny, and that's why
Nah.
John wanted it to happen. But Kieran like fully did super well.
He took it so seriously.
There's a lot of preparation.
That wedding was really fun.
That was fun. Yeah, super fun. Your wedding was really fun too.
Yes, I got lucky because we got to do it in COVID. It was lucky and it was unfortunate because certain people, like, we couldn't have all we wanted there, but we also got to use the COVID excuse to not have a huge wedding. You know, for me, it was about like, it's hard. You had to balance it, but it's also like weddings are the way they're designed nowadays are for you to spend money. And I feel like the whole wedding industry is one big vortex to get you to spend money.
Do you feel like it's kind of like a scam or like?
Well, I mean, everything ever built around it is made to spend the markups on everything. You could say, hey, I want to rent your house for the weekend. Okay, cool. It's this much a night. Oh, can we have a wedding at the house? Okay, that just 10x'd. Like, they just think wedding budget. You're going to pay it. So we got lucky in COVID, and we were able just to make it like very small for the first night. It was just close family and friends. And for me, I liked it because it's just like, I'm pretty shy too in certain ways. And I didn't want, like, I felt like the wedding's super personal, and I just wanted like people, I don't know. It seems like sometimes some people invite people that are on the fringe of friendships, a friend of friend and those type of people. Yeah. And I'm like, maybe those don't fit at such a thing as like a personal wedding at times. Like, obviously you want to have your closest friends there, and I didn't get to have all of them, but
yours was much.
I loved it.
Yeah,
it was much more intimate.
It was super intimate, but with like a very, very good group of people that was like, it was really fun. Jack is sighing back there. I think he might have missed his invite, huh?
You were there the second night.
No?
You were not there the second night? I thought everyone was there the second night. Oops. Like I said, some didn't get to make it. There's casualties. There's casualties.
We need to get a mic on Jack back there so he can chime in here and there.
I only DJ'd your brother, so I wasn't like invited.
You were definitely there, though. It turned into a huge event. Jack was designated DJ for John's wedding, and that was a wedding that had quite a lot of people at it.
That was a lot of people. That was
like,
really fun too.
Yeah,
in a different type of way.
Yes.
I think they were both amazing. Is it stressful planning something like that?
Well, I just said I put a lot of it on my wife. That's was like, I was like, this is it. This is your thing. Like,
I guess that's
make it like so girls have a very detailed idea of what they want. And so you may think like, oh, the dude needs to help out, but like your opinions might not be wanted in that planning of the wedding, I think.
Just get in the way.
Yeah, exactly. Girls have it, and you want them to have what they've been imagining forever, right? And so you're like, you plan, this is a big day. I'm just happy to be there for you.
Yeah.
And us to do this together. That's all I need out of it. you have everything else you need. So that's what I kind of told him he needed you. And her mom planned it, and they just killed it.
Yeah, they killed it.
Yeah.
That kind of makes it easier on you, and then you don't have to worry about getting in the way for anything. It seems like 'cause you're just gonna mess.
Can't
things
be
up.
blamed for anything. Can't be blamed for anything.
No. So, how was your Indo trip? Was it good before you got injured? Did you get any good waves, or was it like the first or second day? Right?
Yeah, the Indo trip was super interesting because it was a new place I'd never gone, and that was kind of like what I wanted to do for this summer, like more of surfing places I hadn't surfed, and I didn't want to get stuck in the loophole of like going, because it's just like so easy to know a forecast for sure and go on that to places we've gone over the years. And I was like talking to this dude, Dean Fergus, funny enough, he used to come, he's a bodyboarder, an Australian bodyboarder. He used to come to Hawaii and sleep on our floor. All the bodyboarders, like 10 of them used to sleep on the floor. Like they would rent space on the floor and for the Hawaii winters because it was real cheap. And my mom was like working jobs and trying to make enough money so that she could take us traveling for the summer. He was one of those guys that stayed there. Randomly hits me up and he's like, hey, like I got a zone over here in South Sumatra and there's like a few crazy waves. And I was like, send me the waves. Like, you know, like sometimes people are like, I got a crazy wave. And then they send it to you and you're like,
It's like some Mushburger, California looking wave.
that's crazy for you, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like,
Yeah.
you're not sure. So I'm like, send me some video. He sends me some video. I'm like, holy shit. Like that's like, the dude's a Australian bodyboarder. I should have known. Those guys are just hunting slabs. That's their
psychos,
life.
dude.
That's their
They're
life.
crazy.
And so he's like, sends me the waves. I'm like, wow, that looks super sick. And he's like, I got an epic little resort. Look at this resort I built. Secret Sumatra is the resort. And I'm like, holy smokes, it looks insane. Like modern, nice. There's a wave right out front. I'm like, let me know on a swell. I'd been in Africa and he wrote me and he's like, hey, like this looks like a pretty good run. And it was right when Indo was starting that, like there was like 3 or 4 swells.
Yeah, it got super active.
Yeah, I got super active. And so I was like, okay, shoot. Yeah, like let's do it. I'm going to come. Like I've never been to the area before. I've been to other parts of Indo. I'm psyched to try something new. Make the mission there. And it was a mission to get there from Africa and get it all the way out there. The resort is epic, great location. And then the first part of the swell, pretty much, it just didn't come together. Like, it was just, the size was there, but the storm had jumbled the sea, like the water outside. So, you know, when like the size is there, but, and it's not, it wasn't really the wind, but it was jumbled. Like, it was just like
it could have been windy way out there.
Exactly.
And it was like super strong winds on the swell, and by the time it came in, it's like all
it had just been warbled out. And like I saw a couple crazy waves. I saw the potential of the place and I was like, oh my gosh, like I see what you're saying. This could be crazy. And there was more swells coming, so I wasn't super worried.
Yeah.
But of course you want to score, you know, it would have been epic to score first couple days. But that was when it happened. Like that day was supposed to be the main day as well. It wasn't that good. But the wave we wanted to surf was like super fun for turns. Kind of like the wind changed and it glassed off and we paddled out and it got for, I swear, 30 minutes. It showed for a second and the bodyboarder Dean paddled this one that was like this 5-6 footer that was just the dreamiest barrel. It looked like Lance's right. Like it really showed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this place big might be really crazy. And I'm like, it's on. The session's gonna turn right now. And then it just went. The wind changed. It went back on shore. Started doing turns, and that's when I hurt myself. So,
shit.
Basically, I got skunked. Yeah. But the next swell was good. I had to fly home, obviously. So it's just one of those, you know. Like I felt like I'd been on. It was weird because I'd been on this crazy score. It seemed like everywhere I showed up to, it just pump. And I was just like, I don't get skunked.
Yeah, I saw. Everywhere you went.
Everywhere I went was just pumping. For like what felt like 2 years, like a year and a half, like from 2022 through to that. And then I was just like, this is killer. Like,
Yeah, I must have missed my invite a couple times.
I think, yeah, you must
It's
have.
with the bodyboarders now.
I'm in with the bodyboarders now. I'm getting bodyboard invites.
Dude, I was hanging out in so after Fiji, before I went to South Oz, we hung out on the Gold Coast for a little bit, and then I went to Sydney for a while.
Yeah.
And dude, Sydney is so fun to just be a tourist.
Such
I went
a
to
sick spot.
all the like tourist bars and like did all the tourist shit, and it was like so sick because I was on that Fiji run for like 3 weeks, and it was so nice to take a little break
Yeah.
and just like not think about surfing. I
Yeah.
had my boards, but I was like, I'm just gonna hang out till a swell pops up. But I just went full tourist mode and just like relaxed.
How nice how fun is that when you like you're in a place it's not third world, it's
Yeah.
really nice, good coffee, and you have your chick with you and you're just like set. You're staying in a nice place, the ocean's nice, good food.
Yeah.
You're not home, and so you're not in that like weird home routine.
Yeah.
You finally, I feel like I did that a few trips like that, and I felt like I finally was like, oh, this is vacationing.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, like people
Yeah.
might think like we live the vacation, and we do in a way, but in our heads we're like hyper focused on surf.
Yeah.
You know, you're like surf, score, get the waves, sick, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. You're so intent on the ocean and that, and then traveling, like you just said, like you shoot your chick, post up for a bit, spend some time. There's no waves. You find other things to do. I was like, whoa, this is sick.
It's
like, this is
so
what
sick.
people do on vacation.
Yeah.
And it's so fun.
Because it's not the same when you get home after traveling for a long time, like grinding and surfing and like early mornings and like crazy places like third world. Because when you get home, you're like, oh, it's so nice to be home.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I gotta work. Like I gotta get shit done. I
Yeah.
gotta like catch up on all this other stuff. But when you go from like a trip into like a little vacation like I did, I was like, oh, I'm just cruising like nice hotels and
Feels
like
so good to
dinner.
cruise like that. No pressure. You trying the local beers and like
Yeah.
going to the local pubs, and you see fans and like people are just psyched and super friendly and open arms.
it's super sick. And it kind of only worked out like that because the waves weren't very good when I got to Oz.
Mhm.
So I spent like 2 or 3 weeks just cruising, playing tourists and like going to like, we went to the zoo and stuff and like,
Got your koala photo.
yeah.
Those photos, they nail it every time.
Well, they have it down because I was like, before I got my photo, I've seen everyone's photos. I'm like, why is everyone standing sideways? Like, why do they look like that? You know, because everyone's like
Yeah.
this and then turn looking at the camera that way, but everyone's facing that way. And they give you little foot things to stand on. And you're like, oh, you got to stand this way.
That
and then
is
they hand you this
amazing.
little animal you've never seen before. And you're like, kind of frozen with just the biggest smile. You're just like looking at the
So
camera.
they set up that posture. Where
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
turn to the side.
And then they put its like little arms on you and it's like holding
Are they
on to you.
psyched or they're not? They're just chilling.
They're cruising. They're all stoned from the eucalyptus, I guess. It makes them stoned. The koalas.
yeah. So
They
they're
eat it.
fried
All
out.
they do is eat all day. I guess they fall out of trees because they get so stoned. Yeah.
They get
or
so
something.
lit. I actually saw 2 in the wild on my Australia trip, and people were tripping. They were like, "Man, they're pretty rare to see, like outside in the maybe not in certain
Oh.
areas, but in the areas." And we flying in the night, almost hit one
On the road?
Dude was just in the road chilling,
Just sitting there.
just snapped vibing us. So I was like, "Whoa, buddy! Like you got to get off the road. You're gonna get nailed." He's just like, "Nah." And so I was filming him, and I put some like hardcore rock music to the clip on my YouTube. It was the funniest clip. It's like this koala chilling, and then like this like heavy rock music playing.
That is the exact Florence humor I'm talking about.
Like I don't know if people that watch my YouTube, like I don't know if all of them really know like that I'm just laughing so hard at those little cuts and edits I'm doing. They're like, "Oh,
I'm sure they are.
that was freaky, that shot he did with the
Right.
rock music and the koala." It didn't match, but sick edit, man.
Just
I'm
out of
like,
nowhere?
No, this is it. This is it.
Dude, I had a so when I was in Oz, when we were surfing, the day I think it was the day I got hurt or the day before, we're driving like in the morning, right when all the kangaroos are out, I guess, running across the road, and we're driving just hours, to get to waves. And the car in front of us has Billy, Wayno, and Tomo in it, and me and Jack are in the truck behind. Sun's just coming up, and we're going like probably 60, 70 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, this kangaroo bolts across the road in front of Billy and Wayno's car.
Oh my
and they
gosh.
missed it by like that much, I want to say. A huge kangaroo. It was as tall as the truck.
They totaled cars.
Yeah. It was like they were this close to like being in a severe accident. That kangaroo would have been exploded, but it was
Bro,
like
they could have gotten exploded.
yeah, it was like
they come through the windshield.
yeah.
That's so sketchy.
I guess they all come out in the mornings.
Yeah, they come out in the morning and then they leap in front of the cars.
Yeah, they see the lights and they just like run to them.
It's so sketchy. I've done like I don't know. I just haven't seen. People were like, "Don't do these certain drives," and like there's this drive from Perth to Margaret River. It's a 3-hour drive, and it's just like they call.
I know. I think Perth to Margaret River is like 10 hours.
No, it's 3. That's a 3-hour drive, Perth to Margaret River.
Oh,
it's
I'm
in West
thinking
Oz.
of,
Yeah, you're
I'm thinking of Naarloo.
You're thinking the other one, yeah.
Yeah. Never mind. Sorry.
But I've landed it twice now, and there's this flight that you land at 11 p.m. from Sydney, and you're either like, depending on how you're feeling, like you got to make the call, like, oh my God, I could either wake up there in my cozy place to stay and be ready to surf, or I could just stay around here, not do the 3-hour drive in the night, and do it tomorrow morning. And every time I'm just like, I'm like you when you're in town, like, no, we're going now. We're going to wake up at home.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. I'm like, I'm doing it. I just get on the drive and go. And Zord just is sleeping in the passenger seat.
Zord's just like that little koala. Just
never
eating.
seen a roo.
Really?
Yeah, never seen. And everyone's just like, I can't believe you did that drive. Don't do it. It's so sketchy. I just haven't run into one. But I do stay vigilant.
Just like this. Nate's one of the scariest drivers I ever drive with, too.
I drink Coca-Cola. I was drinking Coca-Colas.
Really?
Yeah, just trying to stay awake, stay fired
No
up.
coffee?
No, because I wanted to sleep.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Coca-Cola
That's
kind of keeps you awake.
It's got a little bit of caffeine.
That's
in it.
the hard thing is like you can't just have a coffee because then you're really just going to blow
so
it.
tough. Some of those travels into like, what about the weird flights at like 2 a.m. or like 3 a.m. departures?
So eggy.
Like the Fiji one before here. It was just the strangest time that left. You know, remember it was at
that
1
flight
a.m.?
is so bad.
I don't think they...
Why is it at 1:30 a.m.?
And then it's always delayed till like
Yeah.
3. And then sometimes you're there at fucking 10 o'clock to be checked in for this 1 o'clock flight, 1 a.m. flight. And then all of a sudden it's delayed and you're there for another 3 hours and it's 4 a.m. It's crazy.
It's hectic. I was watching this thing like kind of just back to like Australian bodyboarders and how gnarly they are. Some of them, I just watched this randomly, came across it on YouTube. It's this movie called The Road, and it's this group of bodyboarders like very long time ago, 12 years ago or something, go on this mission in Australia. And I'm talking like, oh, my Perth to Margaret River was 3-hour drive. Like these guys are driving like 3 days in like 6 dudes in one car.
Wait, where
On the
are they
hunt.
again?
They're in Australia, and
Oh.
they're heading up into the bottom of Australia, like the Great Australian Bight. They're just
Rogue.
the most rogue dudes on the most low budget, looking for the heaviest waves. Like they're
With no safety around.
bro, no, like these dudes, their trip and this film shows what they do, and like they're so funny the way they do things because they like guys are getting hurt and they call it like the injury penalty box, but the guys that get hurt don't leave the trip. They stay on like with the crew, and they're like we're here to win it, and they're just at one point they're like obviously scoring like these, and they're surfing these psycho waves where with nobody around, and at one point these two like they find a boat and they're in like West Oz, and they're like, we got to get the boat around so we can take it to this offshore island, to the slab. And it's like getting dark, and they launch the boat, and the two dudes take a ski and two take the boat, and the ski guys disappear, and it's literally a rising swell 20-foot surf in the night. They take this boat out and just using like a headlamp, like a literal headlamp
Yeah.
on a boat in 20-foot swell off the Great Australian Bight, like the most dangerous oceans ever. And these dudes are like, they're going looking for waves, but like they're risking it all to do it. And these two dudes get lost in the night. And the guy's just talking about, he said it got dark, and he said they had a depth finder and they would just be racing. And every time the depth finder hit 20 meters of depth, they would stop and wait for a set to break because they knew they were on a bombie. And he said they would just see like a 20-foot bombie roll by. Lol. See the whitewater go around it. And they did this through the whole night. And the guy basically says he just had like a borderline experience. Like they're like, oh, we're going to die out here for sure. Like we don't know where we are on the coast. It's all black, everything. He said he just looked at these stars in the sky and was like, there's nothing we can do here. Like, let's just follow that. Like that looks like it's in line maybe with the coast. Go for it. And so they do it through the whole night. And somehow he said, avoiding bombies. It like all of a sudden the wave seemed like a little smaller and then a little smaller. And then all of a sudden like it got calm and they're trying to look around and then they realized they had driven themselves into a protected bay by just on that weird mission.
Just pure luck.
Pure luck. They get in there and they anchor and sleep the night. And by that time, their friends the next day, they don't show up. Their friends are like, oh my God, they're dead for sure. Like all the Australian Coast Guard starts looking for them, helis, everything, like huge nightmare. Everyone's looking for them. They fucking get found and show up. And then they're all just laughing with their buddies, like these grindy Aussie bodyboarders. The whole Australian Coast Guard leaves, and you're like, holy shit, like these dudes almost died. Like they got to call the mission. It's too much. Like some of them are injured, like whatever. They're like so fired up. They just head out to the slab that they wanted to surf some other slab, see something else, go for it. And they end up surfing this wave that looks like the right. And they're all just out there going nuts, like sending it beyond at a wave that looks like the right, way offshore after nearly perishing in the night. The dude smashes his face, cuts his whole face up, tongue through his cheek, everything, stitches everywhere all over his arm. He wraps his head up. They take him in. Trip continues.
This is a 12-year-old movie? Yeah. They documented all of this.
I was like, what am I watching?
Did they narrate it, or is there footage of this?
The dude's narrating it. Brendan Newton.
On YouTube?
Yeah, Brendan Newton, I think, is the bodyboarder narrating, and he's the bodyboarder that was actually on the boat and smashes his face at the slab. And I was just thinking, like, what these guys went through to, like, because I always thought about it. There's so many slabs over there, and they were all found by bodyboarders, and I'm like, dude, they must have just been the first ones to look. And then I see the film, and I'm like, no wonder. Nobody else was willing to look.
Yeah.
Like, these guys went the distance to do it.
Dude, there's a point where I would draw the line.
The
line would have been drawn way before they even set sail on that.
I'm not getting on the boat in the dark. I'm not getting on the boat in the dark.
20-foot surf, that's where you call it. Or at least wait till morning.
Yeah, I agree.
What's that movie called?
The Road.
The Road.
Yeah.
I saw a cool preview for some surf movie. I don't know who it was, but they went to like Russia.
Oh, that looks so sick. What is the name of it?
I have still yet to see it, but did you watch it?
I didn't watch it, but I just watched. There was a YouTube that someone was talking about on a podcast, and they showed clips of this left they found
in Russia, right?
Yeah, psycho, like
crazy,
insane.
Was it the one in the snow?
Yep.
Yeah.
It looks like Greenbush, or not like Greenbush, but maybe a version of it. It's way heavier, like way more stepped out, way bigger, way meatier. But you're just looking at like these shots they got of this wave in Russia with the most psycho background that they took, like, I don't even know how, like helis and dog sleds and whatever to get there.
Yeah,
and
it looked crazy in the preview.
Insane. Such a cool mission to do that, I think, and go and they happened to find what will probably one day be surfed more consistently because it's just the most psycho wave ever if you can get to it.
Well, who knows what's going to happen with Russia?
That's true.
So it might be exploded.
Yeah. It
One
might
day.
no longer be there.
Who knows what's going to be there?
Crazy. There's just so much like out there, but now the stuff that's out there is way harder to get to.
There's a reason like there's only these certain places that are found, I feel like, because it's easy to look at like say the west coast of Africa.
Yeah.
Like you look at that on a map, you're like, wow, there's so many waves there for sure. But then when you like say you're in Namibia and you're at this like 2 mile long wave.
Yeah.
That's like just not even a fraction of what's actually out there. And to get there is like a bit of a mission, you know?
Yeah.
Like imagine trying to like there's got to be so much unexplored surf out there that is just like people may never get to for like lifetimes or ever.
Yeah, it's just, and there's so many factors. It's too dangerous, like whether that's because of its remoteness or because of the economy and government it's in. Like there's just some countries
like,
you can't go to safely.
Well, like South Africa, you can't, like the west coast over there is all diamond mines and shit.
Yeah, like a lot of that is blocked off, and then there's zones in Africa. Africa has all those countries, but some of them like
they're at war. You
they're
show
at
up,
war.
they're just gonna kill you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not like getting in there. Like, but then you see like what Twiggy did. Twiggy and Greg Long, they find a wave, and then I saw it on the Stab thing. They ended up selling it to Rip Curl. Found a wave. So they had the location. They're the only ones, and they just thought after they had scored it for a few years, from what the story was, they were like, let's pitch it to a brand. And they sold it to Rip Curl. Said, hey, we'll tell you you're the only one with the location. You can shoot all your catalog stuff there. And they did. They totally used it. A couple $100,000 or something.
Yeah, I heard it was like $250,000 they sold it for.
Should have been $1 million.
Yeah.
Imagine what a brand spends on marketing every year.
For real.
And you have your own Kelly's wave pool.
That wave looked crazy.
Crazy.
It looked hard to make.
Yeah. It was a reverse Namibia almost.
Yeah, just like exactly. It almost looked a little cleaner and like nicer water kind of.
Blue water.
Yeah. Warmer looking.
So.
Dude, my first trip to Namibia, remember it was, oh wait, no, it wasn't with you. It was with Koa Smith and his brother. When I went, I only brought 2 left foot booties on accident. And the water was freezing, dude. And
2 left feet.
2 left feet. I tried to put one on it, just like didn't work. So my 1 foot was in the cold water the whole time, and it just went numb.
You just ran at 1 foot.
Ran 1 foot.
Front foot or back foot?
So it was my front foot. So it was just
I guess
club
that's a little
foot. And I
better.
was like, some waves I'd be on, I was just like front hand on the board, like feeling my foot like tripod
so
set.
funny
Like, it was
because you're a goofy footer. So
yeah. But I could not feel my foot. And I forgot about that my first trip to Namibia. It was just like such a nightmare. And no one had extra booties. Or if they did, they didn't want to give them to me because they knew I was going to get some good waves.
Yes, and everyone's too far for lending gear. When I was just there, bro, there was the funniest thing happened because on the plane, there's 25 pros.
Yeah.
But we're pulling off the tarmac, and I'm looking out the window, and I see 3 of those luggage carts full of surfboards. The plane is leaving. Like, we're moving, and I'm like there's Dakine bags and FCS bags and every different brand, and I'm like, I don't know what bag. I don't know which one's mine. Like, I don't know if it's on the plane or off. I think I see it, but maybe it's on. Like, everyone has the same board bags.
Yeah.
So we arrive there, and everyone's standing in the lobby, just like, please, like,
Let it be my bag that made it.
There's 20 like board bags already in the lobby when we arrive, but they had been from a previous flight
that didn't make it.
Yeah, like there was so much people going for this show that and we all looking through them. Who's board? Shoot, like none of ours. Guy starts bringing in board bags, and it's just literally guys just going, yes. yes, I got it. Like Strider just got his, and I was like, damn it.
Did you get yours?
Didn't get mine for the first 2 pools, and the luggage guy was messing with us. He goes, that's it, after bringing in like 10. And I was like, oh my God. And then he walks out the door, but just before he walks out the door, he turns back and he goes, wait, maybe more. He goes there, he brings out like 6 more bags, and I'm like, oh my God. Looking around, I'm like, damn it, my boards didn't make it. Me and Koa Smith and like a bunch of guys standing there like, shit. The guy goes back out the door again. We're like, oh, he's done. He's like, it's done, no more, no way. Comes back in, he goes, wait. He's totally messing with us. It comes, and this time I was like, I can't stand it. Like, I walked over and looked around, and there was like a bunch of board bags he was bringing in.
He's just messing with you guys.
Fully messing with us. I got my bag and was just so psyched, and some guys didn't. And so this thing happened where it was like this board market opened up because guys were like normal working people spent a lot of money to get there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, some pros didn't have boards. And so they're like, how bad do you want to surf? Like, you know, like, and so they started like renting. Like some guys rented
their
surfboards. Some guys rented other guys' boards for the day, or just told them straight up, I'll buy your board off you. Like, and guys were like selling boards. Some guys were like, no way. Some guys were renting them. And it just was just classic.
That's so funny. That is the reason why everywhere I travel, I have a set of my sponsor stickers in my backpack.
Yeah.
At all times.
You
just
have
because
to.
That's such a common thing. Boards are just left.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the worst when you're like, the plane starts moving, you're like, oh, shit.
Yep.
That's my bag.
I saw like this, or someone wrote, a good tip is Apple AirTags. Throw them in your bags.
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and like I have the like United app, and I can track bags, but it only says if they've arrived or offloaded or where they were left.
Yeah.
Doesn't not where, like what airport, right? But the Apple tags, supposedly you're like, my board bag is right here to the airline. Like, and if you're on the plane and it's taking off and you look and it's not with you on the plane, right? You can stand up and be like, my bag is not on the plane. Needs to get on the plane now. You know, so I was like, fuck, such a good call.
That is a good call.
AirTags and everything.
Yeah, you know what? I should have put an AirTag in my Suron, the electric bike I got. Someone just told me. Someone just told me yesterday. It's been like 2 years now, but I bought this like $4,000 e-bike that was like pretty much a dirt bike. I'm all psyched on it. I have it for 2 days, I think. Got it all put together. I park it right outside my house real quick, run in my house to do something for like 10 minutes. I have the key with me too. 10 minutes goes by, I walk outside, I'm like, oh, my bike's gone. Like, someone's messing with me, like Pizel grabbed it or something, or my little brother or you, or like, and I was like, haha, time to give it back now.
Okay, the joke's over.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I was like, shit, it's gone. So long story short,
so
I've had
eggy.
like 5 people now tell me like they have AirTags in their Surons.
So smart.
And I ended up buying another Suron. Doesn't have an AirTag in it yet. But by the time you hear this, it's going to have an AirTag. Don't even try.
Just so you
Don't
know.
even try. I'm like 10 grand in the hole on those things already.
Yeah, it's crazy here in Hawaii. The thieves that are running rampant. They are, the amount of stealing that goes on here is just insane. And it's like partly due to they don't really like prosecute them that badly.
No,
they're like in and out of jail, and so they don't mind like even being arrested. It just goes in and out. Like,
yeah, you see that happening a lot in like California, LA area. Like these chronics will just do something fucked up. Like I saw this terrible thing. This guy like beat this girl up and like did some crazy shit, got put in jail, and then that same day was let out and did it again.
oh my gosh,
Like, yeah, I don't even want to really bring it up, but this is just what I saw
that is
online.
so crazy.
And it's just like they let him right out because they've dropped all these, I guess, charges to like misdemeanors. So they just let him out. Like, you can steal anything from a store now, and if you get arrested, if it's under a certain amount, it's fine. Like there's no charges, nothing goes on your record or anything. So people are just walking into like these stores and just stealing shit. It's crazy. It's like,
I saw this video where like because of that stuff happens, you start seeing where people are like, okay, I'll take it into my own hands. And I'd seen this video. This dude walks into the store with a trash can, and he's just happily throwing stuff in his trash can, like, I'm taking it. And the guy behind the counter is like, shoot, like, I'm gonna call the cops, or like, he's like, don't do anything. And the other guy in the store is like looking like he's gonna do something, and he's like, don't do anything. And the guy's just like, no, I'm not. It was like maybe one of his partners, so he's like, I'm not having it. The guy's just like thinking no one's gonna touch him. The guy comes in, these two dudes, and they just smoke the guy. Like, completely smoke him. One of them has a wooden pole, and the other one like pounds him, throws him on the ground, and then he's whacking his shins with the wooden pole, and you hear it going whack, 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 like breaking bone maybe. Dude. And I was like, good, teach that guy a lesson.
I back it. I bet that guy had come in before and done the same thing.
Yeah, like he thinks he's just gonna get a free ride.
Yeah, dude, fuck. We can beep that. Don't forget.
Beep it like halfway. So like you might hear it, but you might be like, wait, could you have said something else?
No, that's the inside joke. Yeah, we can give him like a half beep.
We're at 56 minutes, so another hour-long podcast.
Yeah. Almost an hour.
So
made it.
We got some ads to film. That'll be it for today. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah.
Tell them what to do.
Like this video and subscribe to our podcast channel. Check us out on Spotify, Apple, all the streaming platforms for podcasts, YouTube, and everything. So thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you guys on the next one.
See ya. Banana.